Ladies and gentlemen, Newsweek, Rand Paul suggests Chuck Schumer should also face impeachment under same standards for Trump. You need a Republican Party that is composed entirely of people like Rand Paul. Why? Because he's going to call out the Democratic Party and media, and he's going to highlight the duplicity and disingenuous nature of a great many people and the hypocrisy. You can't say that Trump needs to be impeached without leveling charges at him in a court of law. So the Attorney General of D.C. and the Mayor of D.C. haven't leveled charges against Trump. Why? Why hasn't he been indicted? I mean, if it's the media states categorically, there's no journalism anymore. They state categorically his words directly led to the tragedy weeks back. Trump's words compelled people, forced people to do something horrendous. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's written that way. Trump, he's directly responsible. In fact, not only were his words directly responsible, but the argument he was trying to present. His claims were so horrendous that they warped the minds of people, and his supporters lost all control. And that's the Pandora's box that Trump opened up with his divisive and horrifying speech, even though he used the word peaceful, and even though he's protected under the First Amendment, and no court of law would convict Trump of anything. Yet impeachment is utilized because it's a political tool. Hit subscribe to this channel right this second. We're back on our way to 200,000 subscribers. I don't know, not many people are saying, hey, why don't Democrats try to actually take Trump to court? They've sued Trump on everything from the emoluments clause, which was kicked to the curb by the Supreme Court, they're always taking Trump to court. They're always suing him. Why don't they sue him for this? Oh, because they can't. Because they're turning a tragedy into this political propaganda spin, this public relations stunt. They're impeaching him to teach him a lesson, a political lesson, even though 2/3 of the Republican Party would actually, of Trump voters, would actually follow President Trump into a third party if he started one. He still has a 80 to 90% approval rating within the Republican Party. He runs that political party. It's just that he's just waiting for 2022 when more people like Rand Paul and Devin Nunes and Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan and Doug Collins and people like Ron DeSantis. These are, and Richard Grenell. These are people, you could say Trump Republicans. These are people who stand up to the media and Democratic Party and force them to abide by their own standards. When they say that Trump's words caused horrendous behavior, and then they completely have this political amnesia, and they don't utilize the same standards when evaluating the words of Chuck Schumer or Maxine Waters, Congresswoman, or a whole bunch of Democrats who have stated things like "get in people's faces." We can look at what Chuck Schumer stated, but when it's any accusation against Trump, it's believe, 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 or Kavanaugh. When it's accusations against Biden, you have the New York Times taking Biden's side, trying to intimidate Tara Reade, and all of liberal and left-leaning Twitter and the hypocrites. You couldn't. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. They obsessed over a hot mic, where Trump's words did not correlate to reality. No one even accused him of that specific act that he stated in the hot mic. Biden was literally accused of that heinous criminal act. And Tara Reade filed a criminal report against Biden. No criminal report was ever filed against Trump by any of his accusers. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I could be wrong on that. From what I understand, no criminal report was ever filed in a police station. There was one against Biden. They swept it under the rug. I thought you should believe when Democrats get caught in the act with their pants down or whatever, oh my goodness, that's a reference to me. When they get caught doing when they get accused of committing the most horrendous things that they've, obsessed over, rightfully so in many ways, when these accusations are leveled against Republicans or their political rivals, what Democrats do is they say, gosh, it's different for us. You should definitely believe any allegation without any evidence against Kavanaugh. In fact, it's called credible allegations. These are credible. Credibility is a subjective term. Okay? But that's what they do. That's what even the fact-checking organizations do. They talk about, did this congressperson exaggerate? No. Well, that's whether somebody exaggerates or not is subject to one's vantage point or opinion or bias. Not a fact check. A fact check isn't like that. A fact check is not a rebuttal or a counterpoint in an ongoing debate or discussion or argument. A fact check is, did the Dodgers win the World Series in 1955? Yes or no? Yes, they did. It was not the Yankees. You were wrong. End of story. Not 3 Pinocchios, 2 Pinocchios, 5 Pinocchios. We rate this somewhat misleading. You are utilizing a fact check, or you're claiming to check facts under the guise of simply trying to further an argument by stating your vantage point is an actual fact. That's not a fact check. But I'll just read you this. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. We're on our way to 200,000 subscribers and beyond. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul again defended his stance against Donald Trump's impeachment on Sunday, arguing that lawmakers' push to convict the former president, unfairly targets political speech. Of course it does. The Republican lawmaker further claimed that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, a Democrat, could theoretically be subject to impeachment charges based on logic used to impeach Trump. Okay, so you look at, I'm not even, just because of YouTube policies, I'm not going to go and read what Chuck Schumer has stated. He made alarming and intimidating statements leveled against Trump and Republicans, as did many other Democratic Party officials. Now, there have been left-leaning protests. I'm not specifically saying any particular organization is at fault for this, but coinciding with left-leaning protests, it has been $1 billion to $2 billion in property loss, businesses torched, police stations in flames, CNN saying fiery but mostly peaceful with a building set ablaze behind the journalist. I mean, you couldn't find greater examples of propaganda than to completely gloss over the property damage and the loss of life. Over 19 people lost their lives associated with protests that were deemed as a reckoning, a moral reckoning. Okay. How many people of color lost businesses? CNN never asks that question. Why is that? Okay. Because the loss of wealth, a business torched, burnt to the ground, is not of CNN or MSNBC or the Washington Post or the New York Times concern. They don't care. What Trump, his words, did that, fateful day, oh my God, yes, he's at fault, and we've never seen this before, even though for 5 months prior, 5 to 6 months, we had seen endless altercations and confrontations, and you had, Portland, Seattle? So these weren't conservative protests. or protesters that were battling police. But it was never viewed. Everything was mostly peaceful, a small percentage. You don't know who was committing what. Gosh, it just happens to coincide with left-leaning protests. But Trump is a scourge against all of humanity because of his words. Now, you need a Republican Party as an opposition to media and Democrats. Democrats don't have an actual, if they didn't have every conceivable possible advantage, they wouldn't win. If they didn't have every conceivable possible advantage from Hollywood, late night media, Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, intelligence operatives, Republicans working alongside them like Mitt Romney, Ben Sasse, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, a couple others. If you didn't have these, if you had a Republican Party that served as a true opposition, even the tech moguls and the titans and social media algorithms wouldn't be what they are today. And you have social media algorithms that favor Democrats also. And they still barely won. And now look what's taking place. The biggest obstacles they face are on the left. They do not want Medicare for all. This is a fact. Medicare for all is a Green Party policy. Simply, if you're on the left, what Jimmy Dore is doing is fantastic. Okay, and there's others like Jimmy Dore who are who want a vote, a Medicare for all vote. This is not the biggest deal in the world. It would get, if the rebuttal is, it would be no chance, and now is not the time. Well, then there'll never be a time. They have no intention of implementing or passing Green New Deal legislation, Medicare for all, universal basic income. Okay, you have political parties like the Green Party. There's Movement for a People's Party. These are all similar to what Bernie Sanders and AOC stand for. Well, actually, they're the epitome of what Bernie and AOC stand for. Okay, People's Party started from Bernie Sanders supporters. Okay, that is the purest form of what made Bernie Sanders special on the left. Okay, now everyone knows he's a tool of the Democratic Party. It's not hyperbole. He exists along with AOC to funnel votes back into the Democratic Party from the left. There is no left in the United States of America because they haven't grown the Green Party or the People's Party. Interesting how the Green Party was never on ballots in these states throughout the country. Why? How do you get the Libertarian Party but not the Green Party? Gee, that's interesting. But if you wanted to actually implement Medicare for all, you would grow the Green Party or a People's Party. You wouldn't vote Democrat. But again, Democratic voters, even the furthest left, they run on peer pressure and groupthink. If they were to join the Green Party, they would be Russian operatives, according to the media and Hillary Clinton. And then their friends would say, oh my God, you're no better than a Trump supporter. You're the new H.A. Goodman. Oh my God, you're just the same. You're just, you know what? You're just as bad as Trump. You know what? And they don't, so people don't deal with that. Why am I harping on this? You might say, well, what does this have to do with Schumer and Rand Paul? Because the Democratic Party is facing huge obstacles now. Now they're governing the country. Now the left is unhappy. And the conservatives are unhappy. The only people happy are liberal Democrats who want incremental change and who want to go back to President Obama's tenure. This is not President Obama Clinton lost because people were tired of President Obama and Bush. Two sides of the same coin. They made the same foreign policy blunders and mistakes and regime changes and interventions the same problems, and people voted for President Trump. They wanted something different. In terms of accomplishments, the Abraham Accords, the beginning of peace between North and South Korea, where those Israel and South Korea want Biden to continue Trump's legacy in foreign policy. Why is that? Because Trump achieved great things. The social media use was not good. Twitter did the best thing possible for President Trump. They think they silenced him. His movement or his message or his policies are now even more popular within the Republican Party, or I should say, people are now starting to realize that Trump achieved great things, and that because of the tweets and because of the reaction to those tweets, this 4-year temper tantrum where they set up and framed Trump, of course, with the help of Republicans. The Republicans who tried to undermine Trump were worse than the Democrats. That's the big deal. And then you had absurd message board nonsense where people believe ludicrous message boards. I told them not to 2 years ago. But if you have more people like Rand Paul, you hold them accountable. And if you hold them accountable, Democrats have to focus on what's taking place politically on their side of the political spectrum. The only reason they won the House, one of the primary reasons, is because a lot of people promised Medicare for all, Green New Deal. They rode the wave of left-leaning policies. Even if they were kind of middle of the road and centrist, that 2018 was a moment where House Democrats utilized that momentum from Medicare for all, Green New Deal, universal basic income, even things that it doesn't even matter if a candidate wanted those things. They benefited from the momentum, the political momentum. Okay, now the left realizes Democrats, these are Green Party policies or People Party policies. They're not Democratic Party policies. AOC and Bernie Sanders and others have zero intention of ever forcing a vote. It was the biggest grift of all time. That relates directly to what Rand Paul is doing. Because if you have somebody like Rand Paul, if you have a political party like Rand Paul that forces them to be held accountable, utilizing the standards by which they utilize to judge President Trump. So if they say, well, Trump said these words that were horrendous. Well, you said the same words. And by the way, there was $1 billion to $2 billion worth of property damage and about 19 lives lost. And they were associated with left-leaning protests. Okay, and that's a fact. I'm not saying it's a specific organization. I'm saying the news swept it under the rug. And, there's this big question mark. Gosh, who is really responsible for all this property damage? Windows were boarded up throughout the country with messages saying, please don't, harm this business. We support you. And then, pick the organization on the left. So everybody knows the reality. The thing is, you don't have a Republican opposition. You don't have a GOP that actually stands for 74 million people. You have every conceivable possible advantage, but the biggest advantage Democrats have is a Republican Party that doesn't act like Rand Paul. If the Republican Party acted like Rand Paul and Devin Nunes is a hero. A real patriot, hero, amazing man. If you had a political party that fought back, peacefully through words, through utilizing the standards by which they judge Trump against their own behavior. So Democrats are always outraged, they always condemn and judge, but they do so from the vantage point of hypocrisy. They do so from the vantage point if they say things that are questionable or controversial, it's okay. If Trump says them, oh my God, it's horrible. Well, look what happened. Look what happened with Trump. His words obviously compel people to do bad things. Well, you had 5-6 months of never-ending chaos on the streets of America, linked to left-leaning rhetoric. So you're not going to correlate that, huh? Or you have politicians literally making alarming statements like Chuck Schumer. So you don't want to impeach him, but you want to impeach Trump? Utilize the same standards against Democrats that they utilize against Trump, because they're hypocrites. You'll be able to paint them and show that they're hypocrites. So give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe. I'll be back numerous times later this evening. Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My God. Tom Brady, 7 championships. He's like the Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan of football. There used to be a debate maybe years back. You could say Joe Montana. You could say other quarterbacks. There's no debate now. That's why I was like, oh, he's like 7th championship. I'm kind of getting tired of this. But you can't help but respect what he's accomplished. My God. And he did it with a different team. Tampa Bay was just dominated this Super Bowl. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you.